Don't think so.
Do we have people that are pushed tonight on this?
There's a couple of, on that one?
Yeah.
No,
No, all
no. That's coming from within Town Hall. And there are a couple of continuances that we could announce now.
Right.
Great Rock Island is continued until the 19th of February, and 13 Wheeler is continued to the 19th of February.
What are we gonna do with ourselves?
Talk about nothing
we'll
for a
find
couple
something.
hours.
Oh, this,
Well, we gotta get Mr. Kelleher out of here so we can go back plowing snow.
You go.
All right, is that it?
I make
That's
a
it.
motion to accept the agenda with the amendment of Stockbridge.
I'm gonna have to
Road.
talk to Penny about the parking lot on Bates Lane for a minute too, so,
Yeah, that would be nice.
okay. Second to that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you're up. Come up and state your, on February 3rd, 2014, during the 6:15 PM meeting at Town Hall, Scituate Conservation Commission will act on the request of Gregory Kelleher for a determination of applicability of the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Scituate Wetlands bylaws to build an 8x12 or maximum distance possible addition on property located at number 7 Dunbar Lane, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. You want to let us know what you think of Mr. Keller?
So there's the existing house there, and there's a bump out addition off the back left corner that goes out 8 by 8
Sitting on a couple of 4x4
yeah.
posts.
on footings. So I'd like to extend the profile of the house out either 8. I'd like to go 12 feet, but I figured that the building's already out 8 feet at that point, so I figured as a minimum I'd be able to go that far.
So
I'd
either
put
in
it, I'd put
footprint
it back
or
on
in-
footings, yeah, it'd be pretty much but the bump out addition's like a mudroom is 8 by 8, so, but I'd wanna bring the whole thing to the front of the house, so it's the back corner of the house. I had a plan, I don't know if you have it.
Well, yeah.
And I would be putting the addition on footings and cantilevering it out over.
As opposed to a foundation,
Yes.
be on sonotubes.
Yeah.
Did anybody get a chance to go out there?
I did not.
This gentleman did.
I've been out there.
Yeah, I stopped as well.
Yeah, and I just had a question on the sonotubes. Is that going to support the type of addition? You know, it would need to go through Neil. I don't know if you've spoken with Neil Duggan about it at all, or?
My brother had, he hadn't spoken about the footings that went up, but he said, obviously, he talked to Neil before. I had spoke with you guys in conservation. He said,
Yeah.
have them approve it first, and then he
Yeah,
said he had
'cause-
no problem with.
Because the location we can take care of, but the
Yeah.
way it's built. But if he says, gee, it needs a full foundation, then you may need to come back to us, because,
Yeah.
you know, this is in the riverfront area, which is anything within 200 feet. We can allow something. It's a lot easier to allow it if it's on sonotubes.
Yeah, or I'd use the Bigfoot.
Yeah,
That's part of the
footings.
sonotube.
Yeah.
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 So, I mean, the riverfront, the wetland itself, it's in the outer riparian, so it's between 100 and 200 feet of the river. And if it's going to be on sonotubes and you're more than 50 from the bordering vegetated wetland, you know, it looked like something that could be permitted as long as that foundation doesn't become an issue.
Right.
So,
I
there's a picture up there too, sorry.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't do the addition if I had to do a foundation, to be honest,
Right.
so.
Yeah, there should be no reason you
Yeah.
can't do it on sonotubes. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of how many you need. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks like the one out there needs help. There's one that's.
Well, I'd put new, all new,
Yeah.
and,
Odds are, his will be better than the ones that
yeah, that'd be getting torn off. And, most like, my cousin down at Scituate Precast has the precasted Bigfoot
Yeah.
footings that are already done, that's what I'd probably be using,
So he can
not
come
just
this-
pouring.
Are you
Well,
just
it's on
buying
this
this
end.
house now, Greg, or is it?
Yeah, I bought it a couple months ago.
Oh, okay.
Well, just what he'd
It's
like.
been abandoned and,
Right now,
Yeah,
here's
pretty
the
much. I mean,
house, and there's a piece that jumps
Somewhat.
out like this.
Yeah,
He'd like to go like this.
Basically squared off the full side of the house.
Right
so
here.
is it coming to, yeah, I understand that, but where's First Parish in relationship?
Right here.
I understand that in relationship, so
Up
he
here.
would, oh, I am.
Then Dunbar
All right,
goes
now.
down this way,
Yeah,
So the
he's
brook is
on the
over
back,
here, right.
yeah.
Yeah, there's no room on the other side. I mean, there's some property line stakes that must be only 8 or 10 feet away on those.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd still be 100 feet away from the riverbank, even though it's in the back.
Yes, is actually if it was behind the house, it'd actually be closer to the
Right.
wetland than the side where it is. It's gonna be on the side.
And he's between the
There's a
house and
shed.
the tool shed.
Yeah.
There's actually a shed there too, but I'm gonna rip that down anyways. It's,
Could we make that part of our agreement if you get rid of the shed?
yeah, because it's on a concrete slab, like it's probably a 12 by 12, just nasty old, they must have had it either like a little garage there before, and then they built this makeshift, like, I mean, I think you saw it, Pat probably saw it. It's
The
like
shed and slab are a lot
Yeah.
closer to the wetlands than the house
Yeah.
is.
I'd be getting rid of that.
I mean, if that were coming out,
Yeah.
and that concrete was coming out and you restored that area, I wouldn't have a problem with a 12-foot. I don't know what you think.
There's a couple of refrigerators or washing machines.
Those are all
along
out. That's-
along
that's
Big
all
One.
done,
So
yeah.
I was gonna recommend a couple of,
Yeah, there's maybe a roll of
There's
fencing
a,
and there's some brush that probably ought to get cleaned up.
Yeah.
Behind the shed. So, I mean, I think it's a win.
Yeah.
It's in an area, but if he gets rid of the slab and the shed and that brush and stuff that's in the wetlands or right on the edge of the wetlands, and then this addition is on sonotubes, I don't have a problem.
what's the maximum they'll allow on a sonotube kind of thing? I mean, it's gonna be living
Can do,
space.
I mean,
so-
they're putting whole houses on the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as
It's
you
all
have,
how
so
big
it's
the
how many you
footing,
do,
the
yeah.
diameter, the rebar in it.
Distance.
But just the cold and the, I mean, it would
Down
seem
4
like.
feet and
Yeah.
below frost, and probably they'll figure out whether they need 3 or 4 to hold it up. And just, I think probably some hay bales or some silt sock or something ought to be
Behind
along
the
that
shed there, yeah.
edge.
On the left side.
These guys with bobcats go everywhere. You gotta-
It's not allowed down there, it's too wet.
Yeah. So I would think we'd want to just have some silt, something as a, as
Yeah.
close to the addition. If it went right around the back of where the shed is.
Yeah.
If you're going to get rid of the concrete, if there was some either hay bales or silt sock
Yeah, silt sock's probably easiest there. Yeah.
just behind the shed, so when you remove that and don't go any further,
Yeah.
I think that would almost clean the site up better than what it is right now.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
that property hasn't been, like, the landscape or anything, I don't think it's been touched in years, it's just kind of overgrown.
I didn't know there was a house in there.
Yeah, exactly, I didn't,
And it's got a different number than the one that, I think it's called number 6.
well, yeah, it was 6, when I was buying and go through the whole process, everything was 6, but the actual number of the house is 7.
Yeah, because 8's on the other side.
Yeah, there's no 6.
The only other thing is originally came in, it was gonna be, flush with the back addition coming forward, like an 8-foot. So, I mean, 8 or 12, I mean, 12 has come up more recently as a possibility, so.
I mean, I personally, if they were willing to remove the shed, the concrete, and all that brush and everything that was out there, I don't- it's up to you.
No, it's outside the 50, so, it's different when it came in, we can revise that on the,
All right.
we do a DOA.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll make a -3 and go for the 12.
Yeah, with
But
existing
With
conditions,
the
yeah.
conditions
Yep.
of removing the shed.
Shed and
Yeah.
Beyond sonotubes, removing the shed, concrete, and brush and
Okay.
debris.
And Neil mentioned too that sometimes with the cantilever things, he wants to have some structural engineer to
Okay.
do approving the plan, but that would, you'd go through him on
Yeah.
that, so.
You'll have to. Somebody
So
want to second that?
second?
Yeah, and we want a silt sock. All in favor?
Aye.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, check with Pat on your orders and make sure you get that
Okay.
in place, and maybe you get the silt sock and stuff in and give Pat a call and let him know that it's there.
Okay.
Maybe a photo or something, I don't know if you want to get back out or if he can give you a
Out in
couple.
the area anyway, so.
Can I,
yeah.
do you have that plan?
I do.
So I don't have another copy of it.
Sure.
Just so I can bring it to Neil.
Yeah. There you go. I'll give you a card too, Greg. Got new cards.
Really?
I don't have to cross Jim's name
You
off.
guys, have a good night.
Take care.
What town does that say? Oh, Scituate?
Not
Do
Jim
we not have
O'Connell.
a plan in the file
Could be
then?
changing them there.
Pat,
Excuse me.
do we have a plan in the file?
You had one up there,
We
I
have one
think,
here.
yeah.
Put
Yeah,
that one.
Paul had one.
Miniature one.
That'll be good. We can get one back. We know where they live.
Yeah,
So we got,
15 minutes.
Well, we can.
Oh, there's
make
a bunch of
motion
things.
to Wheeler. I make a motion to continue Wheeler.
we gotta wait another minute and a half.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So Stockbridge Landing, maybe we should fill everybody in.
Okay.
Where do
Stockbridge.
you wanna start?
Yeah, I know. Well, this is just half of it, but Stockbridge Landing came in a number of years ago as Stockbridge Woods, and they've changed the design. It's gonna be apartment built, 74 units of apartment buildings, and when they came back in to amend the plan with DEP, they submitted new stormwater calculations, drainage calculations, and DEP said, yep, looks good, but it turns out on the plan, there was some missing information about Zone A for drinking water supply and Zone 2. There was a lot of stuff in there. Plus, some of the stormwater things didn't look as good as they could be from our review engineer's point of view. John Chessier reviewed it, gave comments to them. They made a few of the changes, but not enough, I guess, and we'd like to make sure that this whole drinking water supply area gets reviewed as part of this, or we're going to be doing more harm than good. So DEP has a 10-day appeal limit, and that would give us till like 2 days from now. So building, planning, everybody has been involved in discussions in here, and it was decided it'd probably be best to have the commission go ahead with an appeal on this just to DEP. Even if it just gets the parties to sit down and say, you can, put some safeguards in for your drinking supply if you do this change here. So first thing would probably be an informal with DEP. I mean, it's an appeal and it would be, but they usually try to get you to sit down and work it out. So I think we need to.
But you also had some other issues within it, some of the other things. It's been a long time. This project started a long time
Yeah.
ago. They did some wetlands crossings. There's some old silt fences. There's
Yeah.
a number of things that.
Some of the things that are not good about this site, we can't revisit right now because they were approved under 40B and they're in and they're not part of the amendment. The location of the detention basin is like 15 feet from an intermittent stream, but it's already built. So they've issued a partial certificate of compliance of where that was put in. I mean, we don't
But I think
necessarily
part
agree
of
with
it is
it.
they've never maintained
Oh, yeah, they haven't maintained.
any of that silt fence, or
Right.
they haven't done any cutting.
Right.
It seems like some of the stuff that's constructed may not
Right.
be to the plan.
Right. There's violations going on, current violations too.
Do
Yeah.
we want to issue anything on that part of it yet, or what do you want to?
Yeah, I think before they go ahead with any further things, we could get those corrected, but I think it muddies the water if you throw it in with this appeal at this time, because they really give you certain criteria that you can appeal on, so I think I'm gonna,
Is it possible to put a footnote or something
Yeah.
and make note that I mean, there's some blatant violations on this project along with,
right. I will,
okay.
yeah, I agree with you. Just the appeal has to be based on X,
Right.
Y, and Z.
So we
Now-
have to vote to file the appeal?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'll get you a draft tomorrow.
But the appeal, our appeal from the commission won't be on the Zone A
No.
pieces. Will
No.
that be separate?
That'll be, it'll be CC'd to the DEP Drinking Water Division. So they'll get a copy of this, so we'll let them talk to the Wetland Division. But no, ours is based on inaccuracies of the plan, and that's one of the inaccuracies, is not putting the zone on. That's an important thing that's missing from the plan.
Right.
So, I mean, that might have made them say, gee, this stormwater will work fine, but if you're in a Zone 2, it wouldn't even have been allowed, so.
I mean, it's similar to that whole piece on 305 Country Way, and they're right along the edge of that, it's a man-made drainage, but
Yeah.
they're right in it.
So, and the person at DEP, I think Liz Coolharris oversees both divisions, so this, get everybody in a room and we could try to figure it out,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, so it is one of the things with 40Bs, we don't have the jurisdiction, then the thing goes on, but it's been sitting out there for so long, and the place is just
2006 maybe? I think
something
it's-
like
yeah.
that, 6 or 7.
Yeah.
It's been,
So,
okay. Well, do you have a motion?
I make a motion to make an appeal to DEP on Stockbridge Landing
the amendment, yes, for the amended order of
for
conditions.
the amended order of conditions.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Harding, second that, Carol. Or you just say it
And I
louder.
can send you guys a draft tomorrow or the next day at the latest, and it has to be in by Wednesday or Thursday, so.
Nothing like getting them at the last minute, Pat, huh?
Yeah, I know, the vote, the town sat down on Friday to talk about this, so. Yeah, go do it.
Yeah. But we should be a little more careful when these guys are like saying who ought to send a letter. You'd be like,
Yeah.
I think my computer's still busted.
Yeah, right. Although
Okay.
Conservation Commission is mentioned as the best one to file this appeal, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Have you-
it's a lot of work, and we appreciate it, and, but I'm sure it's not gonna be an easy one to put together. Have you got much of a draft together yet?
Yeah, I have.
I walked through it a little bit.
This is the draft, this yellow, but has to fit into their language on the amendment.
I did
so.
speak to Neil again after we met out there, and
Oh,
he,
yeah.
whatever you need from
Right.
him,
He sent me something too. He did send me something on the Zone A stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, Zone A.
well, he's pretty well versed with a lot of those and the Form A pieces, so don't hesitate to
Right.
have him.
Yeah, and John, when we meet with DEP, we'll have John Chessier accompany us. because
Okay.
it's Engineering is.
Did you get an answer from the town on that piece?
Let's see. The town administrator said, you have to do what you have to do. So it'll cost a little money, but that's,
Okay.
it's not going to legal counsel, it's going to engineering review. So we'll have to set up a separate account
Okay.
for that, so.
All right. MBTA Greenbush, well, Penny really wanted to continue Wheeler Ave, so do you want to do that one now?
At 6:30, I make a motion to continue 13 Wheeler Ave to 7 o'clock on February 19th.
Second?
Is that the last one of the night?
No?
How many we got in?
Next will be Great Rock continued, and then there's an informal discussion with Goulston.
What's the agenda start with?
8 Dartmouth, he had to bring something else in.
That's at 6:30?
6:30, 6:45, 87 Maple, 7's Wheeler,
Matt.
and then 7:15's Goulston. It's gonna give Great Rock 7:30.
Is that all?
They better talk
Really?
fast, yeah.
No, but they're all long.
Yeah, those are all
Whatever
big
happened,
ones.
why couldn't we put hearings begin at like 6:30?
I know, I think we
Because
should.
then you
mean, it'll be
continue
like
to,
tonight, all
and
we
you're
have is
sitting
a
here
couple
for
of them, and
45
we'll be-
minutes, yeah.
Hanging out. We'll bunch somebody else up there. Make them, double them up.
All right.
Well,
They
we
do it at the
have,
doctor's office all the time.
I don't, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
gonna
this
have,
get,
yeah, we're gonna have Great Rock next time too, and that's gonna have 2 engineers speaking. and
Yeah, but that's
Wheeler's-
that's
All right,
already.
but the
So
bottom
I-
line, we've
all
talked
right.
about this issue before, when you list these and then 3 of them continue, now you're sitting here twiddling your
We
thumbs.
won't-
All right,
we have a-
let's
there's a bunch
change
of
that
other stuff,
motion.
too, though.
I make a motion, we continue 13 Wheeler Ave to 6:45 on the 19th. So it's
Thank you.
6:45.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. MBTA Greenbush 2013 mitigation monitoring plan.
Okay, you all got that as an attachment? Anybody have a chance to take a look at it? It's,
Where was it? An attachment? I didn't see it.
anybody get it?
No.
Let me look and see, I don't remember seeing it.
No, I got it on my section.
Let's see.
It came in on Thursday of last week.
I don't
thought it
remember
went
seeing
out as an
that.
attachment. Oh, okay. Well, anyways, it's, the mitigation plan each year, they have to go out and assess what they did, see if it's working with plantings and invasive removal.
Have you ever seen Russo? Have you ever seen the Russo mitigation?
No.
Sometime we'll have to take, I wonder if it's not purple.
Oh, I have. The big outback, there's a salt marsh
Yeah.
area. Yes, I did see that.
It's been a while since I've walked out there.
Yeah. I was out there in the summer. It looked like it was in pretty good shape.
Okay.
So if you don't have this yet, I apologize, I will send it to you, but it's a pretty lengthy report. Greenbush.
And so what are they telling us? Everything looks okay?
Haven't read it yet. I thought we could all read it
There's no
together.
deadline on that one like there is on the other one.
That's right.
Okay, so you're just telling us you're gonna
It's
send
in,
it to us?
it's in, and
Okay.
we should look at it. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Anybody wants something to do like Wednesday when it's snowing, you ought to sit and read the
I
thing.
definitely will. Oh, boy.
And 228 Central Ave?
Okay, 228 Central Ave. This came in as a call from an abutter down on Central Ave. And sometime last week, I guess it was last week or the end of the week before that, a stone or concrete wall was constructed in front of the house. So, you know, I called the homeowner and spoke to the homeowner. And it turns out, the way the water comes in,
Do we call it a seawall or a stone wall?
it's on the Central Ave side of the house.
Oh, all right,
It's
okay.
not on the other side of the house. But it was because the water was getting trapped behind the stones that the town had plowed, and this person's basement got flooded for the first time. So I said, you know, you can't go building walls, but he says, you wouldn't believe what happened on this. So he has an open order of conditions to do a lot of other work. And I said, you know, well, if you have an open order, you probably should have realized that you need to call before you do these kind of things. So he just had Landers drop off the stone and the concrete, and he put the thing together. But, I mean, he needs to file, but it's kind of a bigger issue that somebody should be talking about in town hall, in that he got flooded based on what was done around him. On either side of him, the water comes flying through. There's, I guess they're on
But then
pilings
he put up a
on either
wall that
side.
also held the water back.
No, it actually keeps it out from the front of his house. So-
Oh, I see.
So it makes sense if there were no rules, this would have kept the water out of his house. So did you guys took a ride out there, right?
Yeah, he's got a legitimate, what he's saying is absolutely true.
Right,
Yeah.
right. They've
Absolutely.
created a problem for him and
Right,
flooding his house, yeah.
right.
He's also the one, though, I think has a DEP sign without all the numbers.
Oh, okay, well, I think I know what the numbers are supposed to be, but anyways. But he had deck work
Why is it
done, and he
always
had some
Humrock?
other work done under an order of conditions.
Because the ocean is angry at Humrock.
But
Yeah.
doesn't that, Mrs. Duffy wouldn't let her put a stone wall in front,
Right.
She already had a wall there.
but she wanted to make it higher.
She did want to make
Right.
it higher. We did allow her to do a,
The only difference with this is it's like someone immediately protecting their house. I would have done the same thing. You dump
Well, I haven't seen.
piles of
I don't
rock and
understand.
rubble in my front yard and it
well,
floods my house.
when
I'm
the,
gonna-
when the plows are going through and
Yeah.
they're removing the cobble, first of
Okay.
all, and everything like that, they're actually, with all good intentions, creating as many issues as they're
Yeah,
clearing.
okay.
And that's what happened to him.
So where did the cobble end up?
It's lined up along the side of the road. And it-
Yeah.
And it creates a seawall. When the ocean comes
Yeah.
up, the water hits the cobble and then it can't flow across the street. It can flow back in the house and in the
Essentially, they're
basement.
making a berm on the side of the road. That's-
All right, before it crossed the road. this
Right,
is-
it traps it
That's
and
what
it
I'm
went
trying to
in the basement,
figure out.
yeah.
I thought it might be on the ocean side.
So,
It's on the street side.
yeah, so then his wall comes out, not as far as where the cobble wall is, it comes out, and it allows the water to go between this new wall and the cobble, so it doesn't back up into his place, which, I mean, you can't go building walls down there. The other thing is this could be impacting an abutter who gets more flooding because of him. So it's like a whole chain reaction of
Yeah.
things,
Right,
but,
well, one side of it is you say you can't go building walls, but the town's building giant berms.
But they're only
yes, Lisa, they
temporary.
are.
The town's building giant berms, and then it floods his house, and he's trying to stop it, and you say, you
Right.
can't do that.
Right. And we have to look at it under Wetland Protection Act and the bylaw, but we do need to understand what the situation is for the person. So, I mean, I thought that, you know, we have to be somewhat reasonable, we have to follow the laws. Do we want to have this gentleman come in and we could talk about what needs to be done as far as a wall, or do you, I mean, does he want to try
Well,
to
he's
amend
got-
an
he
order of
has-
conditions?
He has
or-
open orders. So if he wanted to do something different, he could submit something for an amendment.
Yes, right, to submit an amendment. And then
And then we
look
could
at it.
decide whether we
Right.
want to agree with it or not.
Right.
I would think that might be the best way to approach
Okay.
it.
Okay,
I mean, if you don't think it's permittable, then we don't want to waste his time with it. But if you think that it's worth considering, then I'd say let them do an amendment and let the neighbors know. That way, if anybody potentially could be impacted, they'll know about it.
Right, right. That way you're getting it out there as a public notice anyway.
Yep.
Right,
All right?
okay,
But he's got to submit something,
you're right,
and we got to let his neighbors know that,
yeah,
okay?
okay, sounds good.
Lot 3 on Irving Road.
Okay, Lot 3 on Irving Road, this is, there's 2 new houses right at the end of Irving Road, right at Tilden, on the left. 2 brand-new houses. Across the street, there's 3 lots. One is non-buildable, there's a drainage ditch going through it. Middle lot looks buildable. The 3rd lot, we got an A&R plan, and Planning Board looked at it. There's enough upland on there, but in the back, there's a wetland. If it were just a wetland, they could certainly be far enough away, but it could be a vernal pool. So before we, sign off on a building permit, they should wait till we have a chance to look at it in the spring. Brad Holmes originally did the flagging, and he spoke with property owner's representative, and we're gonna plan on going out there in end of March sometime. So whoever wants to go out, we could take a look just to see. I mean, it might be a vernal pool that's well into where the bordering vegetated wetland is, or it might be up against the edge, but it may depend on where
It's
this.
on another property.
It's on, yes, yep, it is. It's on the property out back, but it is, I mean, it's an area used for skating in the winter. It does get a lot of water back there, so.
Right.
so.
Okay. So what do you,
So they haven't filed a notice for the house yet, so it's really, what's buildable out there. So there's an A&R lot, so the property owners agreed to wait till March till we could take a look at it.
okay,
So, just an update on what's going on out there.
that's good. Well, we can open Wenzel. Am I saying that right? On February 3rd, 2014, at 6:45 PM in the Town Hall, Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Mass General Laws and Section 30700, Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws, regarding the application of William Wenzel to build a single-family dwelling on property located at Lot 3, 149 Old Oaken Bucket Road. Interested parties are invited to attend.
Just tell them what memory about. Huh?
Yes.
Well, why don't we put it over here, that way anybody that's in the audience that's interested could. You just make it parallel with the wall, and then I think everybody here can see it. Like this, yeah.
Yeah.
Perpendicular. You're good. Paul, have we already conditioned these? Have we already got orders of conditions on these lots?
Yes, you do. However, on lot 3, the work was up in the front, and there was some work in the back. This is completely different.
Yeah.
You know, on this lot here, that's where we found all the those seven lots.
Okay.
I mean, it's apples and oranges, so. The owner of lot 3, which is outlined in orange here, it's a 45,737 square foot lot. The frontage is on Old Oaken Bucket Road. There's a proposed driveway coming in from the street. The driveway has to be on its own lot under the zoning bylaw, unless you have a common driveway. The resource area is just off the back of the lot, this line here. It's the edge of the cranberry bog. And you come in 50 feet. We're showing the house about 52 feet in, and this is the 100-foot buffer zone. What The purpose of this application is to allow the home to be built in this location, and I'll explain why the prospective purchaser, Mr. Wenzel, who's here this evening, wants a house in this location here. The blue is an existing barn where they store all the heavy equipment, and they do the oil changes and mechanical work in there. This is going to be raised, and then its place would be the house here. If you were to compare the amount of blue area versus the brown area, there's now an increase of 550 to 600 square feet of actual building that would be between 50 and 100 feet. Between 50 and 100 feet is where the bog operations currently take place. If you notice, there's a 20-foot easement that they've taken, so they can still drive the vehicles back and forth through here to maintain the bogs and also for purposes of picking the berries in the fall. There's a large hill to the left side of the lot in this area here, and there's like a valley in here where they excavated a gravel well years and years ago to build the bogs. This whole area is obviously all gravel and sand. We did the test pits in here several years ago for a big condo system where we're going to have several condos built in here. The test pits are always good. This system is well outside the 100-foot buffer zone, as well as the septic tank in the front portion of the house. But the idea is to maintain this hill. The barn comes into the corner of it, but we do have to cut into it to have a side slope to stabilize the slope, but the rest of the hill would stay. The reason for the house being here is to take advantage of the vista and the sunset at night on the bog and keep it further away from the street and the houses across the street as well. In the packet I gave you, there's photographs of what this looks like in the back. It's all disturbed. You can see the ruts from where the vehicles go. They do work right up to the edge of the bog, and the 20-foot easement goes to this line here that they'd be able to use once the home is built.
Where's the easement, Paul?
The easement's right here. He's taking a 20-foot easement. It's from here to the property line, it's 20 feet.
Yep.
It's a 20-foot wide access and utility easement for the benefit of the cranberry bog. The only grading we're doing inside the 100-foot buffer zone is a small portion of the hill here to grade it off so it looks better. This is kind of haphazard, and we're doing a couple contours around the house to make sure the water sheds away from the house. Other than that, there's no other work proposed. The runoff from the roof would be considered clean water. This is obviously a much better use than having that maintenance garage where it is with the heavy equipment and the other repair facilities inside of it.
So are they going to keep operating that as a bog?
Yes. This is a very active bog. As a matter of fact, if you were to look at the site from the street, the bog furthest to the left over in here, that was completely rebuilt last year.
You can see that. They've been digging.
And he's going to do more bogs this way. What they're doing is there's a new plant variety out that produces 5 times more berries, and that's what they're producing. Most of these berries are dry picked, so that's their plan to improve the bog. It's quite a bit of work and a lot of money to replace one of those bogs. So his plan is to do one a year. Barry's thinking about a year and a half to 2 years to start producing.
Well. Okay. Penny?
Paul, I understand that at the 50-foot buffer, there is a 20-foot easement and it is a disturbed area. I personally would like to see the house moved maybe 5-10 feet away from that line. I don't like it right on the 50-foot. I understand it already is disturbed in the 50-foot, but I would like to see the house moved just a little bit up, you know, to give a little more, so we have our 50-foot buffer, even though it has been disturbed and there is the roadway back there.
I spoke to the bog owner in the last couple of weeks. What it is, and because these houses are close, because his house proposed on lot 2,
Yeah.
his plan is to move the bog out further to give more separation between the bog and the houses because of his operations that he maintains through here. I can't promise you that, but that's what he did tell me. He plans on moving the newer box further away from the street, give more separation to the house. But what happens down here, this is where his house is over here, and what happens is the actual bog comes down, it goes out like this, it swings way out. This is where he stockpiles the sand to work the bogs. But there's a house here, and then the lane gets narrower. His plan is to push it back when he rebuilds these two.
This is one of the few applications you can move the wetland instead of moving the house.
I know, isn't that interesting?
We had all that discussion, though, back when we conditioned some of these others about what they can and can't do, because they were actually filling in some of the
Right.
bog, I don't know if you call them trenches or drainage or whatever. Richard?
I kind of feel the same way Penny does. In spite of the hope that the bog is going to be moved slightly or adjusted slightly, I would love to see some accommodation done. If it's just for the vista, I can't see why 5 or 10 feet forward would ruin the vista. And I would feel much better if we reduced that amount of area.
Well, there'd be two ways to do it. I'm gonna make a suggestion. Either he does it now, or he moves the house back.
I'm not following you.
What I'm saying is that, as a cranberry grower, he could change the line of that bog right now as a matter of right, because he's a farming operation. So what I'm saying, if you issue an order of conditions approve it, say.
Either way.
Either you move the line of the bog out and certify it before they do any work, or you push the house back.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's,
I just, like I said, I don't like something right on the line.
Paul?
no questions.
I'm good. Pat?
One of the things, I try to check with the Board of Health today about how long a soils test is good for. And in this case, these perks were done a long time ago, and I'm not sure on Scituate Board of Health what they require is, and you're saying that once they're done, they're good?
Yeah, the soil test pits are always good forever in Scituate, unless the ground's obviously been altered. And what I mentioned earlier was when we had the larger project here, we did several test pits right in this area here for a large common leaching area for all the units that were going to go in here. You can see here, this is all sand. We went down from roughly 3 feet down to 11 feet. It was all sand. We could have gone deeper, but we didn't. This is all sand in here. And that's what we found throughout the entire area. Again, this was a gravel operation, and the soil was left with sand. But the test pits are valid. This septic system has been approved by the Board of Health, as well as, and the other thing I just want to point out for the record, there's an issue came up about whether or not we were working too close to a tributary. There's an issue of tributaries around these bogs. I sent a letter to Neil Duggan today, and I copied you. I have other hard copies. And what I said in the letter was that none of the work on this lot is within 150 feet of the tributary to the Catcatcher Pond watershed reservoir. I also stated that the leaching area for the septic system was not within 200 feet of the tributary to the same reservoir. There is no tributary along the edge of the bog in this entire area now. And Neil has a letter. I copied you, the Board of Health, Conservation, and Attorney Ornberger.
Okay.
That's a zoning issue, but I just want to mention that to you in case someone brings that point up, but it's really not an issue for the commission.
Paul, where the house is gonna be located there, the bog kind of swings around, it comes out as a peninsula, then there's bog to the left there.
Actually, it comes down here and then it goes.
Swings around. How close is it to where the grading is and where the septic is? Because it's off the lot, but is it within
Over
100?
here?
Yeah.
No, there's, this work here is well outside the 150-foot setback to any tributary.
No, I'm talking about to the bog itself and the wetland vegetation along the edge of the bog there. You know, like the bog swings around, there's
Oh.
like a peninsula sticking
Yeah,
out.
this is the 50-foot buffer, so the edge of the bog would be right here.
Okay, but it comes around and goes
Yeah,
this way.
Yeah, oh no, actually, there's, you know, this hill keeps going, there's a house sitting here, and it goes way around it. This is the 50-foot buffer, so we're doing a little bit of grading between 50 and 100 feet right here. Those solid lines, that's the grading we're doing on the.
Right, but you're not getting into buffer on to the west of that.
No.
Is what I'm saying. There's
No,
buffer
no.
coming in from that side. What about the
I mean,
septic
the buffer
system?
would be way over here.
Okay. How far is that septic from the existing house that's on
From
lot
this
one?
existing house
Yeah,
here,
yeah. Because the existing house is like,
probably
30 feet from-
150, 200
oh,
feet.
okay.
Well, what are they gonna, I mean, it's really irrelevant to this, but the equipment for the cranberry bogs, are they gonna keep it on site anymore, or,
Yes. Yes, he is. He plans to keep it there in a different location. That hasn't been selected yet.
anybody in the audience? Sir.
Yeah, I am. Just something I want to get on the record. It's just a map segment. Actually, the entire bog is in a zone A and all that.
Just want to state for the record your name and address.
Yeah, Lance.
Yeah.
So-
I didn't get a chance to read your email, 110 pages today.
Oh, no, that wasn't this. This is a zoning issue, it's nothing to do with you guys, but all the ditches through the bog are considered a tributary. So I'm not sure whether this is still connected or not, but as of now, DP considers the entire bog to be in Zone A because it flows its back on the bog. But that doesn't affect what you're looking at.
It does seem crazy, doesn't it?
No, it used to be a stream.
No, but I mean the fact that these Zone As are not under the purview of the Conservation
Oh,
Commission.
yeah.
You know, something that should really happen because it seems to be a jump ball when somebody brings up tributary. It's-
No, it was odd, seems odd to me, but not that I'm not glad to have someone else.
I just wanted to, so you'd be familiar with if it comes up.
Appreciate it.
That's all it is.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, so when they.
And your name is?
Oh, Chris Van Landen, sorry. So when they take away the barn that has all the farm equipment stored in it, they will have to build another barn, correct? And will that have to go through the Concom as well?
I don't, I mean, as,
Depends on where it is.
yeah.
Yeah,
But it'll have to go through zoning or building or something.
right.
It's gonna have to go through somebody for sure.
I would assume they'll need a building permit for it. Is the owner of the bog keeping that larger lot? Is that, do you know, Paul, or?
The existing
Which
house?
one, you mean to the left?
Yeah.
Over here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his house.
So he still has a place over here to keep that equipment? Okay. I mean, it is, the other part of it is, as an agricultural thing, there's a lot of exemptions that they're allowed to do that we have no purview over as well, other than condition some of those.
I
Yes,
have
sir.
one other question.
Yep.
Looks like part of that lot was under 61A, you know, the agricultural tax payment. Has there been any discussion about the town having the right of first refusal on that property? Because it's changing from agricultural to residential.
I don't know that. I'm actually thinking, who has, you're right.
Board of
if-
Selectmen are supposed to be contacted when the use has changed from agricultural. That's it, it has been under an abatement.
Do you know how long it's been, did they remove that piece, Paul, from 61A, do you know?
I don't know the answer to that question. I believe those bogs have been there since the 1920s or 30s.
Right. But my understanding was, and again, I don't know that that's our purview, I don't know that.
It isn't.
No, someone else would have to go research taxes, and we have
Right,
nothing
but
to do with taxes.
if a piece like is in farm status, when it comes out of that, or actually before it comes out, if it's changes, the town has the option to purchase it because they've been exempt from property
Correct.
taxes.
If they don't want it, then the state can purchase it.
Right.
And after that, we go to private sale.
But if it was already removed, if it's been removed for a period of time, or it can't, those things usually have some expiring time. And if that had expired and they didn't renew it, or part of
Right.
it, then. Okay. Thank you. Anybody else?
No, that's actually a good point to bring up. There should be something that we say that requires that be divulged to the town. And I think
Right.
If we're reviewing it, I think we have an obligation to say, by the way, have you talked to the town about this? It's not under ours, but we should be looking into it. The other thing is when this.
Well, the building inspector didn't have a problem passing the buck to you the other day, so maybe you can.
That's right, we can give it him.
It's a good question, though. I don't,
Yeah.
quite sure who to ask. I wonder, the assessor's office? Okay.
Makes sense.
The other thing is that if the.
Can you send him an email? One of you, Pat or Carol, just,
The other thing is if this barn is being raised and there's a slab underneath it, and there's a lot of equipment in there, that should be carefully done, and there may need to be, extra erosion controls so that whatever's in there doesn't wash into the
do
bog.
you have anything right now for erosion control, Paul?
No, we haven't, but the layer got shut off. The plan would be to put a silt sock around the perimeter of that lot. In here, we usually go like this and around here. Well, what we do is stop it at the 20-foot easement, because you can use it. The line came down like this around the easement and back up into the side of the hill. It was a U shape, so nothing would impede his ability to keep maintaining the bottom. Just a silt sock. That's all gravel out there, so I wouldn't expect any erosion.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's still.
No, I'll add that to the plan. If it's on the plan, the layer got shut off.
Okay. Anything else?
That's all I can think of.
So, do you want to do this piece within the orders? If you have this, to keep that a certain distance away, do you want to pick a distance?
10 feet from the 50.
So 60,
One- Yes,
60 feet would be good.
yeah,
is there any other some of the mitigation is removing this maintenance building, but is there any other mitigation on this site, Paul?
He's still gonna be using the back of that property for the bog operation.
Mm-hmm.
If he moves the bog out, is that gonna be, are you gonna have an option in the
Yes.
condition?
oh, yeah, that's what
Either
we're
or,
saying,
either
either
or.
or, that's why.
Ten-
Frank was
to
asking.
increase-
Look at the photographs, he still uses that, I mean.
Yeah. So it's either he moves the bog or they move the house up 10 feet.
Typically, you're the owner?
He's a pos.
Or not yet. So typically, when someone constructs things within the buffer zone, the commission would look for some mitigation, either additional plantings or some way to protect or enhance the wetlands. It's a little bit different because it's a bog, but that would still typically be our concerns, is to try to have some sort of plantings or buffering or something like that.
I mean, he's gonna have landscaping around the house. I don't know what he's gonna have on the bog side, and he'll be limited because of that easement. That easement's 20 feet, he has about
Is it,
10 to 12 feet between the house.
is the easement gonna move if the bog edge moves, or does the easement?
Not necessarily. I mean, when he's picking the berries, if he had to have two trailers going back and forth, he'd need that room, so.
But if you move that house back, or that front, you could do some planting along the edge of that piece.
Well, the easement wouldn't change, I mean, he could still plant between the edge of the house and the easement.
Right.
And if he moves the bog out, he could change the easement, but the easement plan's done. And that area's pretty well disturbed now. And putting the house in the landscaping there will be an improvement over what's.
So in that depressed area where the ground slopes down, what's gonna be planted in all there? Do you have any kind of plan for that yard? Paul?
This area here will probably just go back in the woods. There's some trees along the street. There's some leaves and planting material from the bog that he put in here, that'll probably stay there.
Mhm.
That's mulch, and whatever grows up in there will probably stay. That septic system can't have more than 3 feet of cover over it. We've only got about, I think, 2 feet over it. We show 1 foot minimum. So this area here won't change. We got some minor grading here, and this will just be left alone to grow back.
So what about that area where, right where your hand is?
Here,
Yeah.
The hill.
this is the top of the hill that they're gonna leave.
So that's all gonna just be left,
Just stay right there.
left vegetated?
Yeah, he doesn't want to take the hill down.
You're showing changes of the contours on that location, like all through here?
Mm-hmm.
So this just gonna be graded and grassed,
Yeah,
or is that?
it's just graded a 3-to-1 slope, you can grass it and mow it. No.
Steve, did you wanna say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna comment that usually you guys ask for vegetation in that area to protect the bordering vegetated wetlands, which is a natural
Right.
wetlands.
Right.
This is a little bit unique because you got a working bog in there. And normally you'd say, put some high bush blueberries in there, some things the birds might like. I'm thinking there might be some berries in this area for the birds anyways. Probably a couple million
Right,
out
no,
there.
right, the buffer zone here is where you drive your equipment through.
Right, I mean, it's a little bit unique,
Yeah.
you know, given what you try to protect with that buffer.
Yeah, but they're only available in the fall.
Oh, you buy them year round.
Okay,
Okay.
so do we wanna close?
I make a motion to close.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Aye. Oh, that is cute when that's when you come out.
Well, let's,
Yeah, well, the reason I'm saying
Nothing here,
that,
this particular instance,
but it was a cube down there and it was up to Steve, I think.
and if any, you guys already set existing orders of condition to this area.
yeah,
So nothing that we would say here would
No,
change
no, all
that.
we're dealing with is this project,
Yeah.
which has no orders
What,
until we
you
issue something. This is a
I
new
thought you did for
project.
the whole.
No, no, this is a new.
I know what he
So
wants.
each one is individual.
Right.
I get it.
Carol, do you have one for the records?
Some of those have probably
Bob,
been built
keep
before
this.
conservation was even.
Is that what you needed, Paul?
You guys are on television.
I appreciate it.
Cornell, Great Rock Island,
Oh, we gotta,
we have a motion
Push it
to,
now.
Yeah.
continue that?
Yes, sir. I make a motion to continue Great Rock to February 19th at 6:50.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
We gotta wait just a few more minutes for Indian Trail.
Okay.
Um,
I have one you can look at if you like. 31 Campbellwood. This is a draft letter, just hot off the press. I went through the order, all the correspondence, the minutes, the replication plan, and all that, and there's a bunch of stuff that never gets done, so this kind of says, oh, it hasn't been, it's kind of dragging this out for a while. It hasn't been the commission on much of inactivity.
Don't you hate that when one word prints out on the last sheet?
Trees.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want, I can change this any way
This
you
Peach
want,
Boy?
There's a lot of stuff that...
If I didn't know better, I'd swear Candlewood Drive was in Humrock. I just,
That's not nice.
well, how did it think? I hope Rosemary's not watching it on TV or anything.
Because the plan that we were all looking at never got approved, and there were actually two versions of it, and nothing was measured on the plans, and there was nothing in there about what could get planted in the buffer. So we go around and around for years if we don't
So
get
we're
it
at
staked
a-
out and... And Paul Shea's work was to get the wetland replanted, and a lot of it came in, except for some of the saplings, all the saplings kind of died, and then the Phragmites started in the middle. Phragmites will take over that whole marsh if it's not controlled, so...
So we're doing a cease and desist and violation, or what
Well,
do we want to do?
he had that before, he had the violation letter, and then
Yep.
this will clean it up. You voluntarily agree to this, this will be the end of it, if you can do this. And then we'll just check and make sure the Phragmites doesn't take over, but, I mean, we're just spending
I
time
think you-
doing nothing.
I think you're on it.
Uh,
I agree.
So if there's any corrections, additions, or whatever, just let me know, and I can send this out this week. And the other thing is, the butters have contacted me, and they said, you know, nothing's gone on in 5 years, except for continued backhoe work and plantings of pears. Nothing's gone on other than that. So they wanted to, you know, have some input. And I said, well, we'll have a hearing at some point, and they'll be allowed to.
I think the last commissioner to deal with this problem hasn't been born yet.
Might be right.
I
Yeah.
don't think Mr. Kingman's gonna be alive that long.
So we're going to send this out, and then are you going to ask him to come in, or are we
Yeah.
just going to get a letter saying that, yeah, I'll do it, or what?
Yeah, I mean, send it out, and, you know, on the
then-
bottom, you say, contact us
Come
by
on
such and
down.
such a date, and.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right.
I like it.
He's actually not gonna do anything until spring now.
Right,
Well,
that's
it's the
right, that's
perfect
when
time
we
to
gotta
send it
start
out.
now, yeah.
Right, and then get going.
So that's one of the ones that's been on the agenda for the last 3 months, and now it's,
Wow. Well, that makes me
Almost
sleep
done.
better.
Yeah, let's go, knocking it out.
Okay, do we have, I assume Mr. Brennan's here for Indian Trail. Is there anybody else been invited to that?
yes, Grady Engineering, Mr. Petroselli.
We,
Do we want to just knock off a couple more things for 5 more minutes? And then
Okay.
if they're not here, they're gonna
Okay, yeah, the, one of the
read
ones,
about it.
the 8 Dartmouth Road, the boat ramp,
Yeah,
oh, they're coming up in front of
Coming in
Waterways.
next,
is
Right.
that this week? I think it's, is it Wednesday?
Got it right here, hold on. I think it is this week. I think it's on the agenda, yeah, because he sent you an agenda.
I think it's late on Wednesday. He's like the last one on Wednesday. Will they vote on that night, do you think? Are you still on that?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, and they don't really have any voting powers. They can make recommendations to the harbor master
Okay.
and board of selectmen, but they're not like
Okay.
a board that has any kind of ability to restrict or do anything with it. So they'll just decide, yeah, we think this is a good idea. We'll tell Mark and the board of selectmen and conservation, yeah, go ahead, or not.
Yeah, because I think for Mark, it's really tight. If this ramp goes out too far, it might cut off someone's ability to get into it. So
That is the
those,
only issue.
so that would be Mark's call, probably.
Well, it has to be, the state regulates how far it has to be from the channel. You know, that has to be.
It'll be plenty of distance from the channel. The
Yeah.
problem is the way the docks are. Actually, my son has a big boat there, and I asked him about it. He said, no, it won't be a problem to swing it, but it does make it tighter. So, but it's far enough from the channel. I'm absolutely positive of that. That
The
would
other
be-
thing, when he was in last time, we talked about, you know, it's a nice plan, it's concrete, looks fairly simple, but he really should have an engineer that gives the okay. So the way we left it, he was gonna talk to Carlos and, but I'm thinking, if Carlos is working for us, it would be a better thing than if he's working for the applicant who's going through a change in a plan, because I'm sure if there are appeals or anything like that, you know, it should be somebody that has worked for us that has said this plan is okay. So I talked to Mike today and I said, you know, we might want to, rather than you have a conversation with Carlos, you may want to have Carlos call us, we'll set up an escrow account or a guarantee deposit account, and have Carlos do whatever we ask him to do on this. Because we want to make sure that if it's done right, and that
Right.
we can stand behind it, not just an applicant saying,
That's
yeah,
good.
trust me, you know, so.
Okay.
So Mike said, all right, he was going to have him call me. I should have thought of that at the last meeting. It sounded like, oh, yeah, I have him, but it really should be done
Yep, I agree.
that way.
But he'll be our consultant.
Yeah, and then some of the other things that this ramp does triggers other agencies and stuff, and, I mean, all we can do is recommend that, you know, make sure you go through waterways, make sure you do your Chapter
They have to do
91.
their permitting anyways. I
Yeah,
mean,
they have to do
all
90, what is it, 91A?
we want
Right.
to deal with our
Right,
our
right,
view,
right,
and certainly remind them, but.
right. But the Corps of Engineers might say, oh, you guys issued, you know, an amended order for a ramp into our river and we're navigable waters and you gotta, you know, so they have to be notified. It's better if it comes from the applicant, but if it doesn't, it, you know, I should be letting them know, because somebody goes ahead and does this project, it could be in a lot of trouble, so.
Yeah, Wednesday, February 5th,
Okay.
Mike Salamondo is coming from the Waterways.
So I can talk to Mark, who's the chair? Is it,
Dick Eckhouse.
Dick, okay.
Yep,
Okay. So we can talk to him. All right.
yes.
Were you at the last meeting? It's gonna go out 10 feet?
Yeah.
Concrete sitting on crushed stone? So, he was saying today that he thinks that originally it might have gone that far and has broken off over time. He said
Not
there's,
sure if it's broken off or covered over with silt.
oh,
Yeah.
oh,
That's another thing. I mean, it
Yeah.
needs to be dredged pretty bad, but.
he mentioned the
Different story.
parking issue, you know, the public access. He says he's got some ability to put car parking on his condo area, but not for trailer parking. So, public access trailer, you'd have to go back to the town parking lot, which, I mean, that's up to Chapter 91, that's not up to us.
Who said that, Scalamar?
Yeah, Mike was saying today that he's got, guess he has a couple
Maybe
of
when he gets the
spots.
next two buildings up and he's done with
Yes,
it. Yeah.
yes.
Right, he'll be able to designate a
Yeah.
few spots, but he
Right.
won't be able to fit trailers, yeah.
Right. So that one continues on. Goulston, they've gone and spoken with, they've had the Toll Brothers representatives speak to all the different departments. Selectmen, planning, us, building, and Board of Health, and waters. And so the septic, if it can be town sewer, would make a big difference. If not, it's gonna be a big issue for Toll Brothers. And for us, they wanted to know about the buffer for an isolated vegetated wetland. And for us, it's the same as for a bordering vegetated wetland, it's 50. Unless it's a vernal pool, then it's gonna be larger. There was one, was it you and I? Yeah, we were out there. There's an area that's not flagged as wetland, and it looks like a vernal pool, so another month or two, we'll definitely have to look at that. Site is huge. I mean, it's really, really big site. And so, and east of Hatherley hasn't been delineated yet. So that would have to be an ANRAD or part of the notice of intent,
Okay.
so.
Be interesting when we get some things from them to also look back at some of the old maps and just take a look and see
Yeah, yeah.
how they compare.
Well, yeah. It's gonna be one of the issues.
Yeah, it's a really
How
tough
much
site.
weight can we put on the old maps?
It's a really tough site to walk through. The
Us.
amount of briar is,
Yeah,
it's machete walk.
yeah.
So,
Okay, well,
I'll send Neil out on that, don't be.
There you
maybe,
go.
Yeah.
he's taller, he can walk
Yeah,
over.
right.
Okay. Oh, I think Mr. Petroselli's here.
Oh,
Actually, Rick Grady's on his way, he's just running a few minutes late with the storm. Well, not the storm, but the snow. He's
Okay.
happy to hear about 5 minutes, maybe.
We,
All
a
right.
couple other things we
What is
can,
Crescent?
All right.
Crescent. Yeah,
Crescent-
57 Crescent, stormwater.
Crescent's gonna have to get bumped back. 1 out of 2 wasn't bad. We get Candlewood. Crescent's gonna have to
Okay.
be in the next one, if that's okay.
What, you know what, after Irving Road, you had Walden Woods.
Yeah, Walden Woods, Stenbeck Place. On that one, there were reports of silted water coming through backyards and into a wetland just near the detention basin. So he was told to put up some new big silt socks. So that seemed to prevent it from going on to other yards, but he was dewatering into the detention pond. So that's gonna silt that all over. So I said, you know, we gotta go out and meet with you, but snow's on the ground, it would make more sense to wait till at least the ground is clear. And then we'll go through the whole, dewatering requires its own trench that you've dug separate from the detention basin. And now the detention basin's gonna have to be cleaned before it gets planted in the spring, so. That's where we are on that one.
Some places just shouldn't get built on.
That's just been a mess.
It's a tough one. So, Dreamwall, Kobe's Run, that one, Liam has come in for a certificate of compliance, but I don't think we had the as-built plan at the time where he requested it, so he had to get some more information into us. He was looking for a partial because this lot's for sale and he's trying to get moving on it. Jericho Road postponed because of snow. It takes measurement down on hands and knees underneath the ground, all that kind of stuff, so that'll be hopefully next meeting.
Okay.
We can do the minutes. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of December 5th, 2013 as written.
I thought they were pretty long.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Vote.
Make a motion to accept the minutes for December 18th, 2013 as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carol, do we need to get a new signature page, or are we all set on the 214?
No, I got about stuff of them to find here.
Oh, okay. So that went through planning board approval last Thursday. So they have conditions.
214?
214. So they have conditions with planning board too.
Did they drop their,
DEP.
They've given a verbal agreement to drop it. They want to have the signature page attached to the final conditions, and then they're giving that to the DEP.
Just reading a letter from FEMA that says that they're still going to review the line some more, and they may be putting off any decision in 2000 till 2015. Why is FEMA part of the Department of Homeland Security?
That was
Everything's a part of the Department of Homeland Security now.
a couple years ago, yep.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a CRS meeting tomorrow night, and Doris and Dave Ball have been at all these meetings, have been meeting with state reps and fed reps. They're gonna give us an update on that, but,
Tomorrow night?
tomorrow night.
Where is that taking place?
That is at the Little Red Schoolhouse at 6 o'clock, let me
I
think.
had a piece in the paper about it today.
It's not a big public meeting, it's just our CRS committee.
Yeah.
You guys, of course, are welcome. I think it's at
It's all right.
7 o'clock.
There's no room.
Steve will go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
7 o'clock.
What else do we have?
Nothing.
nothing other than?
So, you and I still have to go back up and mark that parking
Yes.
lot. And,
Let's go in the snow on Saturday. There's gonna be a storm all day.
No, that's
so-
gonna be Sunday.
No, it's Saturday through Sunday, I thought.
No, it's gonna be Sunday.
Oh,
Trust me.
all right. Well, no, let's go Saturday.
all right.
Good, we have a meteorologist, so we can pinpoint
Yeah.
this stuff.
Pat, I talked to Pam Martell about Old Oak and Bucket House. So the Historical Society wants to start to do some additional projects around the Old Oak and Bucket House. And I got a call from the woman that's doing some of that planning. And she wants to just kind of have a preliminary walk. I
She has
guess-
an Eagle Scout too, right? Doesn't she have a Scout?
I don't
Or
think-
somebody, Dave Ball thought there was a.
Oh, maybe Dave's got somebody lined
They
up.
were
We already met
clearing
with
the
somebody.
trail out there last.
We met with
We were out
Yeah.
there in the fall.
Well, they came in for some work on the building, but this they want to consider more things to do on that site. They'd like to start improving the site, make some parking, maybe make some trails.
Cool.
But they're concerned about how much wetlands there are. So she was looking to try to meet up tomorrow
Yeah.
before we get more bad weather.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can get there. I know she was trying to push it to the afternoon.
Yeah, if it's snow covered, it might be a tough day to do it. I mean, I could go out in the afternoon, but if it's hard to tell
If
what's
it's already
what.
covered with this and some more, I don't know how far you're gonna get.
Yeah.
We went out there.
We went out there, we saw
right.
where the, yeah, the trail.
It's got that river, that dried up river.
Yeah,
thing that-
to the left.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I thought the scout was gonna be involved so that we could show him where to,
Yeah, but I think hers is even like a bigger master plan. I mean,
Oh,
I think
okay.
they'd like to create some meadows there again, or some pastures, or some, some kind of restore some of that area. And I'm just not sure what the wetlands are. I don't know how our mapping shows. I mean, I know it's not a dry site.
yeah.
There's a lot of runoff from that hill, but I don't know if there's actual wetlands right adjacent to that, because it seems like it would be, keep going uphill.
To Walnut, yeah.
Walnut Tree
Yeah.
Hill. So I'm just not sure. Maybe there's a depressed area where there's some isolated wetlands, but
Yeah.
We
not-
didn't go
I'm not that
far
familiar.
in.
No, the trail kind of stopped it.
Yeah,
They
that-
cut a
that
little
tree there,
piece,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But I think she'd like a little bit of guidance at some, on
Yeah.
what we think might work or wouldn't before they really start to pursue it. Is
Yeah.
what she's hopeful.
Yeah, Dave was gonna call back with a time, so I'll let you know if he calls me and anybody wants to come.
All
It's
right.
maybe
Okay.
tomorrow afternoon or,
I mean, it's kind of preliminary. There'll be something that they're gonna have to file. They just are trying to get a little bit of a heads up as to what might be out there before they get too far afield.
okay.
All right. Okay. I think we got everybody here for 136 Indian Trail.
Thank you, Rick Brady from Brady Consulting, Paul Petroselli. Sorry, I don't have my easel here with me tonight, so I'll do my best to hold this up
There's
for
an
you.
easel down there behind the door.
There we go.
There's a couple.
We had an engineer review
Right.
it.
So is he responding to this?
What, there's,
Yeah.
Who's the guy sitting there?
He's our engineer.
That's right there.
Right over this way.
Yeah.
Thank you. As the commission may recall, you sent us away on this a while ago and asked us to request a formal modification to the stormwater permit. We redid the drainage calculations, broke out the tributary areas that will be flowing towards the rain garden and also towards the rear property with the grading as it exists today. On the previous version of this that the commission had approved, this tributary area came through the backyard down here a little bit lower. With the grading that Mr. Petroselli has done here, there'll actually be less runoff heading towards the property in the back. What we've done is we've proposed a crushed stone trench at the top of that slope. Basically, any grading in that backyard we want to capture before it gets to the slope and divert that to the rain garden. So with this concept here, it'll still use the roof drainage that was previously proposed, where the gutters are directed to a crushed stone basin below the garage. And then anything overland will flow towards the rain garden itself here. We did receive comments from Pat Brennan from Amory Engineers about the location of our discharge from this crushed stone trench here. And we agree that where we had shown it did have the possibility that it was going to not make it to the basin. So what we're suggesting instead is that we can carve that crushed stone trench around the top of the ledge, basically bring it a little closer to the house and then divert it towards the rain garden, so we can be sure that anything that this captures will be sent towards the rain garden and not overflow towards the Yates property in the rear. Again, the front entryway, land within 100 feet of the wetland. As far as the order of conditions go, no changes have been made or proposed within the 100-foot buffer. So we're simply looking at a request to modify the stormwater permit. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you may have.
Who wants to?
Well, I'll start. So we had Pat, we had our guy go out and take a look at it, and then,
Pat, yep.
is this their response to,
Yeah, you should have received Pat's comments on, okay, so then we thought we'd
so
invite
how
Pat to
does
come in.
this answer that?
That's
I
a
guess is
good
the
question for Pat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that
That's a
all right?
logical place to go,
Is
yeah.
that okay there?
Get an engineer to answer that.
Thank you. Pat Brenner with Amory Engineers. Basically, Rick, what he just described, if they do bring that question on front, my concern was they showed a riprap swale down around, I don't know if any of you have been out there, but there's a big ledge out front there. And they showed the riprap swale going down around that and back to the rain garden, and just, it wasn't gonna work. So with this scenario, that should take care of my issue that I had with that. The other comment that I made was they have this kind of the stone slope, it's an existing stone slope with vegetation. When I was out there in late December, this slope is really not vegetated. I mean, there's some weeds out there, but that's about it. So they're gonna need to do some work in the spring to really get that slope stabilized. And it can be difficult because it is a pretty steep slope. It's at least a 2-on-1, and I think it's closer to a 1-on-1 on this side over here. So they may need some erosion control blankets and things like that out there to get that to stabilize.
Okay. Don't go too far away.
That, you do realize that that was not an existing slope, that was a man-made slope.
Correct.
And it used to be a slope, I call it a cliff now, it's pretty steep. But you think, I want to feel confident that that's going to be completely stabilized. And
They may need more stone on it, some more riprap. You know, the grass that they show, or whatever plantings to grow up in between the stones should help hold everything together. But with the bare soil out there, it's gonna be a challenge to get that to stabilize. It's gonna take a little bit of work for them to really get that stabilized.
Well, it's all, can I say something? That's all riprap. It's all rocks. It's not moving. I watched them put it all in. It's stable. You can't move that. It's all rock.
But there's earth between the rocks.
Yeah, there was a little bit of earth loosely put in there so it would go through the rocks. That was the plan, and so then we can put some plantings in there, but
that earth has been washing down onto the neighbor's yard.
No, it hasn't.
It absolutely has.
Well,
There's plenty of silt at the bottom of that goes off onto the neighbor's yard.
in that area, to the left of the ledge, I agree, no question, 100%. But to the right, am I right, Rick? To the
I
right.
haven't seen any erosion there. I mean, I haven't been out there since probably a little before Pat was out there. It's probably mid-December or so. But I didn't see any signs of any erosion, especially in this area here.
You're telling me that there's no silt that's beyond that property line?
We had met with you guys back in September, and I actually took a ride out there at that point and took a look at it, and then came back and we discussed it. At that point, there was some silt that had gone over the property line in the area of some pines and some mulch in this area here. No doubt about it. Since that time, since he's put up the silt fence, I haven't seen any additional siltation going beyond the limits of that property line.
Frank, also, when they put these boulders down there and stabilized it, they just sprinkled some dirt on top of those rocks to have the dirt go into those little crevices. And then he just kind of patted it down slightly on top of it. It's not like it's heavy erosion to go flowing down. It wasn't designed, he just sprinkled in there so we could put some plantings in there and some loose vegetation, some low-growing blue myrtle or, things of that nature, pachysandra, to get in those little holes. But there's no heavy dirt that's gonna run off. Once it gets wet, it's going down into those holes. That was the design of it all.
Actually, I believe.
That's why there's no runoff there. There's nothing for it to run off to. On the left side, it's all running down there. But on the right there,
we can go out and take a look at it. I mean, it's not bad at all. There's nothing there going down on the right
Actually
side.
similar to the side slopes on Bob Falcone's project around the corner on Border Street, and again, at the corner there, we had that driveway kind of cutting
Mhm.
through the ledge in there. The slopes that need to be stabilized here are actually very similar to the slopes that Lucione had landscaped over on that property.
But don't those have all, I mean, they've been loomed and they have trees and,
Yes, yeah, landscape's been completed on that, yeah. It's just as far as the steepness of the slope, the stone that's being dealt
that's the
with.
same,
It's similar, yes, yeah.
Richard?
I got nothing to add at the moment.
The only thing I would say is if, you know, our consultant thinks that this plan is gonna work other than stabilizing the bank, we let them go do it, you plant it, you stabilize it, and we're not gonna sign off on a certificate of compliance until the problem's solved.
Bill?
No, that's pretty much what I was gonna say, is that we'd want it, I don't know if it's an order of conditions or how would we do it, you know, in terms of the plantings, in addition to the plants being met for the runoff.
My plan was to put some low-growing plants there anyways, like some pachysandra, something low, make it, instead of having it look like the front of BJ's with big rocks out there, take a look at that. That was the reason why we sprinkled some dirt in between the rocks, so we could put some wildflowers or things like that, some low vegetation, so it would look more like, you know, more like the woods, like they were looking at before the house was there.
Pat?
The one other thing that will help is when they put that crushed stone trench in, it's gonna intercept any of the overland flow from the yard from going down that slope. So really the only water going down that slope will be what's falling on that slope. So there shouldn't be a lot of runoff flowing down that slope. So, you know, if they are able to get, in the springtime, get some plants growing, it should stabilize it. It just may take a little bit.
So you're not planning on putting any more soil or anything on that slope? You're thinking that whatever's in there is gonna grow, that vegetation will take in there?
Yeah, that's what, exactly.
Pat?
I had a question. Was there an area that had been proposed as pavers and is now a grassed area? Is that along the right side? There was something about pavers being
Oh, I know.
vegetated.
Yeah, we were going to do a driveway approach up in the front yard coming off the loop driveway here. It was gonna come right up to the front door with pavers. So he eliminated that portion of extra driveway that was gonna come from the loop up to the front step.
And that's going to be grass now? or-
Right.
Okay. No, I think the biggest concern that we had, and that I had, that we brought Pat in for, was that the amount of height that the back corner has gained over this, and it's
Well,
all, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you submitted a plan to us that showed a very different lot than what we have here right now. With a stormwater plan, it was a plan from Grady Engineering that showed a significantly different area in that back area. And we conditioned that, and we approved it, because when there's wetlands involved, the Conservation Commission handles the stormwater piece. And then, without any amendment, without any request for changes, we have a very significantly different plan in this back. And now we're trying to remedy that. And I'm not so sure that this, I mean, you get two engineers that say with this, I mean, our consulting engineer has some reservations that this is gonna hold. Certainly, we can do what they suggest and say, well, we're just not gonna issue a certificate of compliance till we see that it's all stabilized and working.
I think that's a fair approach, because what's going to happen is over the next 6 weeks or so, this is going to be at its most vulnerable stage. So if something's not going to work or something's going to fail, this next 6 weeks or so before it's been landscaped, while we're sending extra water in that direction that's not being intercepted, we've got the test coming up over the next 6 weeks or so. And after that, he should be able to landscape it get the crushed stone trench in there.
And get the gutters on.
Yeah, get the gutters on the roof. Because even the roof's actually heading a little bit in that direction now. That's not being connected into where it's supposed to be
Yeah,
going yet.
once the gutters are on, then it's all going down into the, below the garage, so that, all that water's gonna be collected.
What are the plantings that are proposed for the slope?
We actually didn't specify the plantings. I know Paul was working with Lucione at one point on coming up with a planting plan. We did not actually submit or specify plantings or planting plan.
Just from conversation, though, it was like blue myrtle and pachysandra and low-growing hydrangeas, things of that nature, all low-growing around the whole.
I think that ought to be part of the plan, and I think you ought to be showing that to Lou. I say, do you think that'll even grow with what you put there?
So that's proposed for the sloped area in the back, and then what about on the top where it levels off? Is that gonna be just left as stone, or is it gonna be grass, or is it gonna be?
Well, at this point, I just trying to build the house, so I just figured just grass at this point, and then probably around the edge there, I'd have some mulch beds and some plantings and things of that nature.
Because
You
it
know,
was a
kind of bring
stand of
it all
trees
together.
when we started, so that's where we're trying to account for how much water is that taking up too. So we'd like to have some kind of vegetation in the back in that corner there that could help. I don't know if that's.
The drainage calculations are going to be grass.
Say that again?
The drainage calculations are based on that being
On
grass.
grass. Well, I think we definitely need a planting plan. I mean, we went from a slope to a cliff, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, we went from an undisturbed area.
Yeah, right, well, it wasn't a slope. And now, so we definitely need an extensive planning plan for that.
Yeah, the slope at the Border Street address that Rick had brought up, it's a pretty steep slope, and it looks like it's mulched with several bushes. I mean, it's a longer distance, but it seemed, we went up there, Frank and I were up there, it looked like it was working, but I don't know the exact, if it was 4-to-1, whatever it was, maybe more.
That slope too is all dirt, mostly dirt, where
Yeah.
this is mostly boulders now.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean.
Well, and the contention is that because it's rock, it's not gonna wash away, which is true, but anything that's underneath it, and then we're not gonna have any sort of plants to absorb moisture or
Well,
anything.
that's what I'm saying, so now we have the problem of getting the plants to grow on Water
Right.
Street. We knew the stuff would grow there, because they basically bulldozed right through it, everything that was there. So we knew it would grow. Here, we're not, we've gotta wait and see. Is the stuff gonna grow? Is it gonna get, hardy? Or is it just gonna shrivel up in the rocks?
Well,
Yeah, should we have Lou,
whoever, I think that we should have a planning plan that can be taken a look at and make sure that that's gonna, we feel that's gonna stabilize that.
and as far as the other stormwater stuff, Pat, you think
Yeah,
that the volume and peak rates, everything is,
Yeah, the calculations, and when I did go out there, they did have the area under the driveway, all the crushed stone, everything was in. Those drainage systems were installed, so they are there, and, when I looked at the calculations, everything that's tributary to Indian Trail to the road, the rates and volumes meet the same calculations that they had in 2012, which were less than the existing conditions of the site. With this plan, with that interceptor trench, crushed stone trench, they actually reduce what's going off the rear property line, and put it into that rain garden that they have.
Yeah, we don't want anything going into the neighborhood.
Right. And then that trench,
Or to the right.
or to the right.
Well, I mean, shouldn't be
Yeah,
anybody. I
no,
mean,
exactly, everything should be
Right,
staying on.
and that trench is not, I mean, they're gonna have to maintain that trench, it's, you know, if that gets silted up, it's not gonna work.
It's not gonna work.
What I typically like to see, is if on a trench like that, as a suggestion, it's a 2-foot by 2-foot trench, I would suggest wrapping it, and I think there probably is filter fabric on this trench.
There is, yeah.
Yeah, I would suggest keeping the filter fabric 3 inches down from the top, so that if the stone does start to get silted up, it's just that top 3 inches that you can just scrape off and put new stone in, and you still have that filter fabric surrounding the clean stone.
can you show that on your plan? So, we're gonna get a planting plan?
And I think the suggestion that you want to monitor it to make sure it's going to work, I think that's a fair suggestion.
Okay. We have a whole public meeting process so that neighbors can come and see what kind of a project is going to be built. And then we look at it to make sure that that's going to work. And those people are assured to some degree that that's going to happen. And then when you build something that's not according to plan, without coming back and first asking for an amendment, that people can come to a hearing. It's not the process I want to do here every day, that's for sure. Try that.
There's a, in the stormwater report, the original one, there is, it's an O&M plan, and there's a bioretention maintenance plan, and, you know, maybe the planting plan for the slope could be added to this. If you've seen this, it, you know, calls for ongoing maintenance on it. Repair and replacement plan, so, I mean, we'd be definitely looking at this before there was any issuance of a certificate of compliance, just to make sure that subsurface structures are maintained, and they have like observation holes in those, or is that how it works?
But when do we want to see a planting plan? When would we like to see one?
I can get on it right away. I don't know how long it would take, maybe 2 weeks.
When's our next meeting?
19th.
And then the
And
5th.
after that?
It's the 5th.
March 5th.
Yeah, 19th, we're pretty full.
We have already, the 5th.
Yeah, because you
You're not gonna
can't
do
plan
much.
for a while anyway, so.
And you're not going to try to do this trench until,
Same time, probably, right? Any plans on when to do the crushed stone trench, Paul? Same time as landscaping?
Yeah, it's during the landscaping, it's during the spring, you know?
yeah.
March
and that-
5th.
You just make more of a mess when it's all muddy, so, okay.
So March 5th, the planting plan, we're going to come back here with a planting plan?
That would be great.
Okay.
In the meantime, you're keeping an eye on the silt fence and all that stuff at the
Yes.
bottom.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
What else?
We went through everything. Actually, I think we're done.
Might be setting a record here.
Well, we haven't closed yet, don't jinx us.
Yeah, Paul's certain there's going to be something else thrown in here to,
Oh, by the way,
yeah. I'm done. So what was your favorite ad on the Super Bowl?
Budweiser the puppy.
You know, the one I like was the Audi, where they mix bred the dogs, the big.
I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.